Then we discuss about limitations of ID. What are the limitations of ID? So it supports only Firefox and Google Chrome. We can write only simple scripts by using ID. We are unable to use control statement. Okay, for this reason we can write only simple programs, and so we are unable to parameterize the data, and we are unable to generate detailed reports. To overcome these limitations, we need WebDriver. Okay, so what is a WebDriver, and how to configure WebDriver, and how to write test case in WebDriver. So in this class, we are going to discuss about the configuration of WebDriver. Configuring WebDriver. First of all, what is WebDriver? Okay, if you see official site, so we have three tools for those: Selenium Webdriver, ID, and Grid. Okay, so as of now, we discuss about this ID. What is this ID? It's a simple record and playback tool. So I say a Selenium ID, a Chrome and Firefox add-on that will do simple record and playback user interaction with the browser. Right? We are, as of now, we are using this tool. So this is simple record and playback tool. The same manner, what is WebDriver? Selenium WebDriver is a collection of language-specific bindings to drive browser way it is meant to be driven. It means with help of WebDriver we can automate browsers. Automating browsers means we can automate web applications. To automate web applications, so we are going to use WebDriver. Okay, it's a collection of language-specific bindings to drive browser. The way it is meant to be driven. So we can automate manual test case by using language bindings. Or in other words, WebDriver is nothing but test tool. In other words, WebDriver is nothing but a test tool or API. It having some predefined APIs. By using these APIs, we can automate manual test case by using languages. So what are the languages supported by WebDriver? So these are the languages supported by WebDriver. It supports Ruby, it supports Java, it supports Python, it supports C#, and it supports JavaScript. By using these language bindings, we can automate manual test cases. So like ID is not a tool. If you see ID is a tool. If you click this icon, it's going to open the tool. This is a tool. Like this one, we don't have any tool for WebDriver. It's a just APIs. We have some APIs. By using APIs, we can automate manual testing. Okay. So now, as I mentioned earlier, Selenium is open source. Open source means everything available on internet. You should know what are the softwares required and where we can download the softwares and how to configure the softwares. Okay, so because it's open source, everything available on net. So what are the softwares required to configure WebDriver? Softwares required to configure WebDriver. What are the softwares required to configure WebDriver? So to configure WebDriver, so first based on the language, we need to download the language. So right now, these are the language supported by WebDriver. It supports Ruby, Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript. So this is, priority order of the programming language. So which is on top? Java is on top. After Java, Python, then C Sharp, then Ruby, JavaScript. Okay. So this is order. So we are going to use Java as our programming language, right? To use Java as your programming language, we need JDK. So which version of JDK is required? So JDK 1.8 minimum 1.8 is required to use. Right now the WebDriver categorized into WebDriver 2 and WebDriver 3. So they not yet released WebDriver 4. Okay, now we have a beta version of WebDriver 4 but not yet released. So WebDriver 2 and WebDriver 3. So WebDriver 2 means we have a 2x jar files. So in WebDriver 2, so we have a default browser. The default browser in WebDriver is Firefox. Firefox is a default browser for WebDriver 2. If you are using 3x jar file, 3x jar file, it means WebDriver 3, we don't have a default browser. In WebDriver 3, we don't have a default browser. Okay. So right now, if you see in this download page, if you click download, so what is the latest stable version? 3.141.59. It means it's a 3x. 3x. So the latest Selenium 4 not yet released officially. We have an alpha version. So anyway, we are not going to discuss Selenium 4. No one not using Selenium 4 because it's not stable. Okay. So some R&D is going on. For this reason, we are not going to use Selenium 4. So we are going to use Selenium 3. So what is Selenium 3? So we are going to use 3.xjar file. Right? For this reason, we'll call as Selenium 3. So to use Selenium 3, JDK 1.8 or above is required. Minimum version of JDK is 1.8 is required. To use WebDriver 2, JDK 1.7 or above is required. So anyway, we are not using WebDriver 2. So for this reason, we are not going to use JDK 1.7. So we are going to use WebDriver 3 for this one, which JDK version required 1.8 or above is required. Then after this, we need one more software, that is editors. So we have a multiple editors for Java. If you search for Java editors, so why we need editors? So if you don't have an editor, so where we'll write programs in notepads. During college days, we'll write Java programs in notepad. Okay, through command prompt, we are going to compile. Through command prompt, we are going to run. In real time, so we are not going to use notepad to write scripts. So we are going to use some editors. So what are the editors available in Java and what is their importance? So we have a multiple editors available for Java. Okay, so we have multiple editors available for Java. So right now the three major Java editors are Eclipse is the first one, NetBeans is the third one, and IntelliJ second one. NetBeans is the second one, IntelliJ is the third one. Okay, so most of the Selenium AppM testers using Eclipse as their editor. Just I will show you Java free editors. Okay, so this is the best Java editors IDs. So here which is on top, Eclipse, then NetBeans, then IntelliJ. So this is three major traders. Apart from this, we have some other also. We have BlueJ, we have some J developer, we have so many developer editors. But which is on top? Eclipse is on top. Okay, so we are going to use Eclipse. Right now we are going to use Eclipse. Later I will show you IntelliJ also. Right now we are going to use Eclipse. What is Eclipse? It's a Java IDE or it's a Java editor. It's Java editor. So why we are going to use? To write Java programs. Otherwise, if you don't have these editors, we need to write programs in Notepad. Instead of writing programs in Notepad, we are going to use editor that is called Eclipse. What is Eclipse? It's a Java editor. Then, apart from JDK and Eclipse, we need jar files. What do you mean by jar file, and what are the jar files required? First of all, what do you mean by jar file? Jar means Java archive. Jar means Java archive. So what do you mean by Java archive? It's very simple. So when you go for zip, and what is the importance of zip? When you go for zip, to group and compress files, we are going to use a zip format, right? It's like one of the archive format. The same manner, to group and compress Java files, okay, we are going to use jar format. It's one of the file format. Jar format is one of the file format. When you go for this format, to group and compress Java files. As I mentioned earlier, it's a API. It consists of predefined classes, interfaces, and methods. To group all these things, so we are going to use this file format. What is the file format we are using? Jar files. Jar. So what are the jars required? So we need two jars. One is Selenium server jar. Another one is, this is common for Selenium server jar, is a common for all the languages. The second one, client combined. Based on the language, it supports multiple languages, right? Based on language, we need to use this client combined. Based on the language, we need a client combined. These three softwares required to configure WebDriver. But those JDK, Eclipse, and jar files. So what are the jar files required? Selenium server, client combined. Okay. Then the next question is where we can download the softwares and how to configure. So as of now, we discussed about what is WebDriver and what are the softwares required to configure WebDriver. What are the softwares required to configure? We need JDK, Eclipse, and Jar. The next question is where we can download the softwares. All these are open source. Okay, we can download the software from internet. First start with JDK. So to download JDK, very simple. Go to Google page and search for JDK 1.8 free download. 1.8 free download. Okay, the official site for JDK right now is Oracle. So go to Oracle official site. Okay, from April 16, 2019 onwards, so they changed the license for individual users or for students is a free. If you are using for like a companies, they are going to charge some money. For us, free. Okay, so they introduce commercial license for not for us. So don't worry about this license. Is for us, it's a free. So for learning purpose or if you're a student, it's a free. Okay. So this is official site. In this one, it's showing multiple JDKs. So we are going to configure WebDriver which OS. Right now we are going to configure in Windows OS. For Windows OS, again, it's showing two versions. Which version of JDK I need to download? Based on your system type, we need to download. Okay. If this is a site, we can download jar. This is the URL. We can download JDK from here. The next question is for Windows, it's showing like two versions. Which version of JDK I need to use? So for this one, based on your system type. Your system type is 32-bit. Your system type is 32-bit. Go for x86 JDK. Okay. To know your system type, right click on computer properties. So here is showing a system type. Here my system type is 64-bit. Okay. If it is 32-bit, which version of JDK required? x86. If it is 64-bit, we need x64 JDK. So if your system type is 32-bit, we need to download only x86. If system type is 64-bit, go for the x64 JDK. Your system type is 64-bit. If you want, you can download and install 32-bit also. Higher will support lower also, but lower will not support higher. Your system type is 32-bit, so we need to use only x86 JDK. If it is 64, even if you download x86, it will support. Better to download x64. How to find system type? Very simple. Right click on computer properties. It will show your system type. Here right now my system type is 64-bit. For this reason, I'm going to download 64-bit JDK. So where we can download in Arkil official site, here simply click on this link. So once you are clicking this link, it asking terms and conditions. Select this checkbox and click on download. So from the last year, April onwards, it asking the credentials or account. Okay. So if you don't have an account, by clicking this button, we can create an account. So no need to pass any credit card details. Okay. Just you can pass the account details. If you have an account already, log into the site. If you are login, then only they are allowing to download JDK. Otherwise, they are not allowing to download JDK. Earlier, we don't have this restriction. From April 2019 onwards, so they are introduced this mechanism. So once you are logged into this account, okay, it's going to download JDK. If you don't have an account, so first step is go to create account page and fill these details. Okay, fill these details, then create an account, then download. Okay, in company name, you can pass like a student. Address, you can pass the current address, all those things. Job title, work phone, everything should be like a student you can fill. Clear? So where we can download JDK, we can download JDK from Arkil official site. Fine. What next? The next one, where we can download Eclipse. We can download this Eclipse from Eclipse official site. The official site for Eclipse is eclipse.org. The official site for Eclipse is eclipse.org. Go to this Eclipse official site. In Eclipse official site, simply click on download. Once you are clicking download, so it's showing two options. One is an installer, another one is a zip version. Okay, so if you click this link, if you click this button, download 64-bit, it's going to download Eclipse exe. Okay, Eclipse exe. If you don't want to use exe, so the next approach is like select download package. I'm not going to use exe because based on the number of exes, your system speed going to increase or decrease. It obviously decrease, right? If you have a less installers here, your system speed is high. If you have a more installer over here, your system speed is slow, right? So for this reason, I'm not preferring exe version. Okay, I'm going to download zip kind of Eclipse. So how to download? Simply click on download packages. Select download packages. In download packages, it's showing multiple options. Eclipse ID for Java developers, Eclipse ID for enterprise Java developers, and C, C++ developers, so and so. I'm selecting this option. Eclipse ID for enterprise Java developers. Again, it's showing Windows compatible, Mac compatible, and Linux compatible. So here, make sure that if you download a 64-bit JDK, we need to download 64-bit Eclipse. If you download a 32-bit and if you download, 64-bit Eclipse, it's not going to work. So both should be same bit. JDK and Eclipse both should be same bit. Okay. So just now I downloaded 64-bit JDK. For this reason, I'm going to download 64-bit Eclipse. To download this one, simply click on this bit number. So once you are clicking bit number, it's showing one mirror site. I'm not going to use this mirror site. Select another mirror. So it's showing some other mirrors. Select show all. Okay. So I'm going to use US mirror site. So why we need to use US mirror site? It's very simple. So most of the projects or most of our clients is US or Pakistan. Yes only, right? So for this reason, I'm going to select country should be US. Country should be US. Any one of the university. You can select any one of the university. Okay, I'm going to select like a Columbia University. If you select this link, it's going to download zip file. It's going to download zip file. So once again, how to download Eclipse? It's very simple. Open Eclipse official site. Then what next? Click on download. What next? Select download packages. Then what next? This is installer. If you want, you can use this installer. I'm not going to use this installer. As I mentioned earlier, to save my system speed, I'm not going to use this installer. Okay. In Eclipse ID Enterprise Java Developers section, select the bit number and select another mirror. Show all. Country should be US and select any one of the university. Select any one of the university. Once you are selecting this link, it's going to download zip. It's going to download zip. So is there any difficulty, any confusion to download Eclipse? Nothing. Fine. What next? So as of now, we downloaded two softwares. One is JDK, other one is Eclipse. The third software required is jar files. What are the jar files required? We need Selenium server jar file and we need a client combine. Where we can download the jar file? We can download the jar file from Selenium official site. Okay, go to Selenium official site and click on download tab. From the Selenium official site, we can download these jars. This is a URL to download jar files. We can download both jar files from this site. Go to this site. If you click this link, it's going to download Selenium server jar file. Selenium server jar file. And we need one more jar file, that is client combined. These are the client specific language bindings. Right now we are going to use which language? Java. For Java specific client combine is this one. So corresponding Java, if you click the download, it's going to download client combine. Okay. So any difficulty, any confusion to download jars? Nothing. Go to Selenium official site, download. If you click this link, it's going to download Selenium server jar file and corresponding Java. If you click download button, it's going to download client combine. Right? So these are the softwares required. Then what are the steps required to configure WebDriver? As of now, we downloaded required softwares. Then what are the steps to configure WebDriver? What are the steps required to configure WebDriver? To configure WebDriver, step number 1, create a root folder or create a folder. Create a folder. So why we need to create a folder and what is the importance of this folder and where we need to create a folder? Okay. So I'm going to create a folder. You can create a folder any one of this type. It may be C or it may be E or it may be F. Okay. So right now in my system or my laptop, I have 3 drives. You can create, okay, you can create folder any one of the drive. I'm going to create a folder in F drive and the folder name is user defined name. You can give any name. I'm going to give my folder name is Selenium scripts October 2020. It's user defined name. Why we need to create this folder? The purpose of this folder is, so we are going to store all your WebDriver scripts into this folder. We are going to store all your WebDriver scripts into folder. For this reason, we created a folder. Okay. Under this folder, create one more folder. The folder name is called lib. First create a folder. Sorry guys. Before going to create a folders, first we need to install. Step number 1, download and install required software. Download and install required software. We already downloaded. Installation is required only for JDK. Just now we downloaded JDK. We downloaded this JDK. We need to install this JDK. How to install this JDK? To install this JDK, simply double click on this JDK. Installation is required only for JDK. To install JDK, double click on this exe. Then click on next. Then click on next. Okay. I mean, if you want, you can change the destination folder, or no need to change the destination folder. Click on next. Don't update anything. Click next, next, next. Okay. So it's installed successfully. So if you want, you can see the tutorials, API document, developer guide, release notes, everything. Then click on next step. Otherwise, you can simply click on close button. Any difficulty, any confusion to install JDK? Nothing. So we can simply install JDK. So just now we install this JDK. 1.8 we downloaded, installed. Right? So then the next step is create a folder. Step number 1, download and install required softwares. What are the softwares required? JDK, Eclipse, and jar file. So we can download JDK from Arkle official site, Eclipse from Eclipse official site, jar file from Selenium official site. Then installation is required only for JDK. After downloading JDK, double click on the exe, next, next, and finish. Okay, no need to set the path. Okay, what is path, how to set path, we'll discuss later. Now, no need to set a path, anything, just install. Then step number 2, create a folder. Under folder, create one more folder. The folder name is lib. The purpose of lib folder is we are going to copy all library files. Library files, nothing but jar files. Okay, under lib, we are going to copy all the jar files. So first create folder. Under the folder, create one more folder. The folder name is called lib. The folder name is called lib. Lib means library. So in this lib folder, copy jar files. Right now, how many jar files we downloaded? We downloaded 2 jar files. What are those? One is Selenium server, another one is this Java client combined. So simply copy these 2 jars into lib. So one is jar, another one is zip. So if you see here, this is a jar and this is a zip. Okay, so we need to extract this zip file. How to extract? Right click on zip file, extract files, click on OK. So we'll get a Selenium Java folder. In this Selenium Java folder, we have this jar, which jar? Client combined. Okay, I'm going to copy this client combined jar and I'm going to paste over here. What is step number 2? Create folder. Okay, the purpose of this folder is going forward, we are going to store all our WebDriver scripts into this folder. Under this folder, we are going to create one more folder. The folder is lib. The purpose of this folder is, so we are going to copy all our jar files into this library folder. Then copy jar files into lib. So just now we downloaded this too. So by default, this is jar, this is not jar, it's a zip. We need to extract. After extracting this zip, we'll get Selenium Java folder. Under this folder, we have a jar. The jar name is client combine. So I copied into lib. This is step number 2. Then step number 3, launch Eclipse. Latest version is 4.17. This 4.17 version required JDK 11. Okay, I'm going to use I can use 4.12. I'm going to use 4.12. I'm going to copy into my desktop, then extract zip file. Okay, after extracting, we'll get Eclipse folder. Open Eclipse folder. In Eclipse folder, we have a Eclipse icon. Okay, simply click on Eclipse icon. Double click on Eclipse icon. Once if you double click Eclipse icon, so it's going to ask workbench. Okay, it asking workspace. Okay, workspace is nothing but so we created a root folder. In step number 2, we created a root folder. We need to select the root folder. Okay, how to select root folder? By clicking browse. Click on browse. So we created a root folder in F drive. Select F and select this root folder. Select folder and click on launch. While launching Eclipse, the first time we'll get welcome window. While launching Eclipse, first time we'll get welcome window. Let's wait for welcome window. So while launching Eclipse, first time we'll get this welcome window. In this welcome window, uncheck the checkbox. Okay, if you not uncheck this checkbox, every time this window will open. Okay, in this window we have a tutorials. If you want to explore about Eclipse, we can go to this tutorials. Okay, otherwise simply uncheck the checkbox and click on workbench. Click on workbench. And this is step number 2. Once again, step number 2. What is step number 2? Step number 3. Launch Eclipse. How to launch Eclipse? To launch Eclipse, very simple. Open this Eclipse folder. In Eclipse folder, we have Eclipse icon. Simply click on Eclipse icon. Once clicking Eclipse icon, so it's going to ask the workspace. So click on the browse button and select the workspace and click on launch. The first time it will show the welcome window. In welcome window, click on workbench icon and uncheck the checkbox. If you uncheck the bottom checkbox, the welcome window will not appear from next time onwards. Otherwise, every time it's going to appear. For me, the second time welcome window is not appeared because I unchecked the checkbox. This is step number 3. Then step number 4, create Java project. Create Java project. So how to create Java project? So if you see here, we have multiple options. Create Maven project, create Java WE year project. We have multiple options. Now we need to create a Java project. Okay, later we'll create a Maven project. We'll discuss later. Right now we are discussing about Java project. So here, for this reason, I'm going to select this last but one option, create a project option. If you select this option, it's showing Java project option. Select Java project. Then click on next. Give the project name. Project name is user defined name. You can give any name. I'm going to give my project name as ABC Bank. So going forward, we are going to work on the bank project. For this reason, I given ABC Bank. This user defined name, you can give any name. So if you are working employee, you can give your project name. Okay, if you are practicing, you can give any name. Then click on finish. So once I click finish button, will show this warning. In this one, select open perspective. Select open perspective. Yes, project created successfully. So in the left pane, we have a project. The project name is called ABC Bank. So once again, the step number 4. What is step number 4? Create Java project. How to create Java project? So first time only it will show options. Otherwise, go to File, New, select Java project. Or select project and select Java project. Next, give the project name is user defined name and click on finish. Once I click finish button, it's going to create a project. So if you expand this project, it's showing JRE system library and SRC. SRC means source code. Going forward, we are going to write scripts in this SRC folder. In JRE system library having some jar files. What are the jar files required to write a Java programs? It will show here. Apart from these jar files, to use a WebDriver API, so we need 2 more jars also. What are those? These 2 jars required. We need to configure these 2 jars also. So we are going to use existing Java API as well as WebDriver API. To use a WebDriver API, these jars required. So we need to configure these jars. Step number 5, configure WebDriver jar files. Step number 5, we need to configure WebDriver jar files. How to configure WebDriver jar files? Very simple. Okay, please make note down the steps. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path. So right click on project, build path and select configure build path. Select this option. Then once you are selecting configure build path option is showing multiple tabs, select libraries tab. In Java build path window, select libraries tab. In libraries tab, so we have an option called add external jars. Click on add external jars. Okay, go to this lib folder and select these 2. What are the jars required? Selenium server and client combined. Select these 2 jars. Click on open and apply and close. In libraries tab, add external jars and select the required jars and apply and close. Click on apply and close. Once clicking apply and close, it's going to create one more folder. The folder name is like a reference library. In the reference library, what are the jar files we configured externally? It will show here. Yes, we configured these 2 jars, Selenium server and client combined. So these are the steps required to configure WebDriver. We need 5 simple steps. So I'm going to stop here. We'll meet tomorrow to discuss about these topics.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, subscribe our channel and click on bell icon.